Yeah, first of all, proud of our guys. I mean, look, you have your home opener, third game of the season, and you're coming off of a 21-point win. And our challenge on Sunday night last week was how much can we improve off a 21-point win? I mean, that's the challenge as a good team. I mean, right now we are, quote unquote, the 7th ranked team in the country. Whether we are or aren't, I don't know. I mean, I think we're pretty good. But I know top 10 teams get better as the weeks go on. And I thought maybe for the first time since Abilene Christian last year, we kind of rolled one out like this. It was a dominating night. And there was enough resistance and headache in this game, enough adversity that it made it even more impressive in my eyes as a head coach, because it didn't come easy early, and you knew it wouldn't. Austin Peay's talented. Their coaching staff does a great job. They've recruited talented players, and schematically what they do, especially on defense, was somewhat of a headache throughout the week to prepare for. But I was just proud at the way all three phases presented themselves tonight. Really, our defense, other than giving up a reverse, trick play, with our first group, didn't give up any touchdowns, as far as just the hard way. So just proud of those guys, proud of the way our offense was able to really have, I don't know whether it's 4 straight maybe possessions of touchdowns. If you take the one at the end of the first half and then add on the 3 in the third quarter, that's what you're looking for. And you can see the explosiveness, you can see the talent, you can see the ability we have at times. And if I'm sitting here splitting hairs in a 45-17 win, we can be better for 4 quarters. And I think that's the part that just gets you up and makes you excited to go to work tomorrow, is finding ways to continue to improve this team. So we're going to enjoy this win. I mean, we're 1-0 in the United Athletic Conference, which is where you want to be right now, especially playing a conference game this early in the season. But we have a lot of work to do, and we've got to get better. And if we're going to play the schedule we have ahead of us against some talented teams, not only in our conference but 2 more non-conference games, we have to improve. And I think our players know that. I know our coaches know that. It's just a matter of how hard are we going to work for it, and that's what I can't wait to watch.
I know coming off the last one of those main things you're talking about of really trying to lock in on and improve was finishing those drives. I mean, the starters were something like 6 of 10 on scoring drives. One of them's a missed field goal. Yeah. One of the forwards. I mean, did you kind of sense maybe a heightened focus or something from that group to really finish some of those off? Not, I guess, other than the couple that were just runaways.
It helps when Darius scores from 50 out and ShunDerrick scores from 60 out, and I mean but you did have some drives that got in the red zone. The one right before half, there was one later in the third quarter that Darius scored on a counter play. In a big set package, that was a good play to finish the drive. So yeah, I think we put an emphasis on that throughout practice. There's obviously certain areas that we've got to continue to improve upon, especially on offense, starting faster in the first quarter. I joked on the radio a second ago. We came out of the first quarter tied 3-3, so that's improvement, right? But that's not good enough. We left points out there, and so a lot to improve on. But when you got really good players, they can cover up mess, and guys like ShunDerrick, guys like Darius, Will, Trajan Bridges with that punt return. I mean, they can make you look good.
You said earlier in the week you need to give the 2 guys more touches, obviously 318 yards, 4 touchdowns between them.
I mean, when you're talking about when ShunDerrick had a down night, he only averaged 8 yards a carry.
A couple early shorts.
Darius averaged 10.5. I mean, why? Shame on us if we're not, right? I mean, and I don't want, and I think ShunDerrick and Darius would both say this. I don't want it to go unrecognized how well our offensive line's blocking, how well our tight ends are blocking. I mean, I haven't had 3 tight ends that had the mass that these 3 tight ends we have right now, maybe in my career, with J.O., Jordan Owens, Jackson Cosmeyer, and Tyler Siddons. I mean, every one of those guys are 6'6", about 260 pounds. And it's like having extra offensive linemen in the game, essentially. And obviously we've got to be creative and get them some catches and some different things, and we'll keep adding to that. But man, obviously great running by our running backs, but sometimes they're not getting touched, and that's fun to be a part of. And so, we've got a chance to be really good, but we've got to continue to get those 2 horses the ball, because when you get the ball in 27's hand or you get the ball in 4's hand, and they complement each other so well, good things happen.
Manny went 54.
That's what Manny can be, and Manny's working his way into being an every down wide receiver, and he'll get there. But he was a spark. We talked about it at halftime, and the second play of the second half. I mean, we kind of had a no gain on the first play, and we knew that they were giving us a certain coverage to a certain set, and we just we knew Manny runs that route well, and Will stuck it right on him. And I mean, that's two weeks in a row. I'll give Manny a hard time that he should have scored. I pulled him over the sideline and said, "What are you doing? Score." I don't even want to run another play, but he's an elite athlete, and he's going to continue. We knew this kickoff guy was a guy that kicked it out the back of the end zone majority of the time, and he did all night tonight. But Manny's going to continue to be a kick returner for us as well when we get some opportunities to get some returns. So Manny Smith is going to be a great player for the UCA Bears, just like he was for the Conway Wampus Cats for all those years.
I know Darius himself has said that last year was kind of he was just in a weird spot.
Yeah.
Shundy coming in.
Yeah.
Kyle was still here.
Yeah.
Just trying to figure out where he fit. And there were some games you could really see that more than others. I think this is the first time since North Alabama was here 2 years ago that he's hit 100 yards.
Yeah.
I mean, how cool is it to see really what he can really do for a full game?
Darius is special. Darius is a special running back. And he's a running back that gets better the more carries he gets, and we've got to continue to feed him the ball. I think ShunDerrick gets a lot of the attention because he can take the ball 90 yards at any point, and that's special. But so can Darius. He's pretty fast. Now he got worn down on that last run. I told him it was maybe the worst finish to a run I've ever seen in my life. And I was actually worried he did something to his hamstring or something, but he was just worn out. And, man, I'm happy for Darius. He had a big smile on his face, and he deserves it. I mean, you're talking about a guy that's – I don't know how many career touchdowns he has at UCA, but it's an enormous number. And he's going to continue to pile those up because he's so good with the football in his hands, and he's so good at just tough, hard yards. Even when you don't block it up perfect, I mean, he can run through arm tackles, and that's what he can bring to the table.
Any other running back, when you got to rotate off, you want those extra touches, I'm sure. But at some point, you kind of just have to throw your hands up and say, I get it. When he's breaking some of those off.
Like I said, when Darius hot, I'm gonna tell the coach to keep him in, because he's getting the runs, he's breaking arms, trying to get to the end zone. So when Darius is hot, I'm not gonna stop him from keeping him in. That's a decent run.
It's like having a Ford Raptor truck in Darius and a Lamborghini in ShunDerrick, and that's fun. And that makes play calling fun. That makes
Darius makes my life way more easy.
Yeah, because Darius had 14 carries tonight. ShunDerrick had 22. But look, ShunDerrick had tougher yards tonight than maybe what he even had the first 2 weeks. Those safeties were coming down and they were filling the box, and hence his average was only 8 yards a carry. He's got to be better.
Coming in, you guys obviously were near the top, not at the top of FCS, and quarterback pressures and sacks and stuff like that. And Austin Peay was at the bottom, allowing that stuff. I mean, how much does that, do you feel like that kind of weight on the team? The more the game goes on, the more times that quarterback gets hit, maybe the quicker his trigger starts to get, whether it needs to be or not.
Well, what was a big deal was us getting up a couple scores and taking them out of their game plan. Because you could tell early in the game they were getting out of the quarterback's hand fast. They were doing some quick, sticking the ball in the running back's gut, and he was pulling it and throwing quick game. And they hadn't shown a ton of that the first 2 weeks, but we figured that, with the the struggles they've had a little bit on giving up sacks, that they would probably do that a little bit. But, when you get them behind the sticks and obviously go up a couple scores, now you get a chance for D-Walk and those guys to pin their ears back. And here's the funny thing is D-Walk only had 1 sack, 3 tackles for loss. I say only. That's a all-conference night, all-American night as is, but he tipped the ball out of the guy's hands 1 time. He put the guy on his back probably 4 other times. There's no doubt that quarterback was feeling their presence. We ended up with 5 total sacks, 8 tackles for loss on defense. You can win a lot of football games doing that. And again, it's great to see it. The statistics sheet spread out. You don't want it just to be David getting 4 sacks or 3 sacks, and everybody else is kind of just in the area. It's great. Bradley Clark got a sack. Javion Jones got a sack. Sam got another sack. That's big time. That's what's going to take us from being a really good defense to possibly being a great defense, and we know that. And we're doing this. You can watch the film. You do realize we have not sent 1 blitz in 2 weeks. We're doing it with 3- and 4-man rushes the whole game. Now, we brought a couple blitzes against Arkansas State because we felt like we had to, but the last 2 weeks, our blitz percentage is 0%. And we just played a team that blitz percentage is probably 35-40%. That's when you're on to something special.
You talked about being 3-3 and you had punt. How big was that?
Oh. Well, you saw flashes, which we've seen at all camp, that how natural Trajan is back there. He reminds me a lot of Tyler Hudson back there. And, Tyler had 3 or 4 touchdowns in his career from punt returns. And, you haven't seen Trajan have the breakout game at receiver yet. That's coming. It's coming, I promise. Just wait. But he changed the game. And obviously punt return unit, all other 10 guys did a great job blocking. I saw 2 major blocks on that. I can't remember who got them. I'll have to watch the film, but just in the speed of the game that opened the lane up for him, and Trajan did the rest. And you just saw it a little bit last week that, man, he was that close against Lindenwood a couple times, and you just knew one was coming soon. And to come in that moment to put us up a score when we're kind of stalled out on offense and, we need some momentum. That was a massive game-changing play in a big conference game, and that's what big-time players do, is make big-time plays in big moments.
How impressive when the defense playing well, regardless of who's on the field, is good. But second time this year where Torrance been out the entire second half, obviously different reasons, but for them to, other than the immediate next play, to hold them to a touchdown the rest of the way, how happy are you with that group?
Speaking of him, there's D-Walk himself. I went to the sideline when the call was made. Dave's got a lot of grace. When the call was made on Tamarian or T-Bird, that's such a deflating call in college athletics, right? College football, to lose a player on a targeting call. I have my opinion in the call. I think it was a helmet-to-helmet deal. I have no denying that. I just think the plane of the running back kind of went down, and like we were talking, I think he hits him in the chest if the guy's in his normal plane, but that's neither here nor there. But I went to the sideline immediately when T-Bird was ejected from the game for the targeting penalty, and I went up to Jacoby McQuillan and I said, "This is why we brought you here. This is why we brought you here. This is why we recruited you. We knew you were a great football player." And he's had moments in his first 2 weeks. He had great moments at Arkansas State when T-Bird was out. He was their second leading tackler. He's a football player now. You put number 4 on the field, we got to find a way to put number 4 and number 7 on the field at the same time, when T-Bird's out there. Because Jacoby McQuillan is a superstar. I think he is really good. And he's undersized, under-recruited. And Coach Scott and Coach Cree Trammell did a great job recruiting him and getting him here, and he has done nothing but perform. And so you hate losing an All-American. T-Bird's an All-American, and he's, other than David, he's our bell cow on defense, and especially on the second and third level. But I was so proud of the way Jacoby McQuillan and K.C. Clark stepped up in his absence, and we still played winning, dominant defensive football.
David, Coach mentioned how last 2 games, you guys aren't hitting blitzes. It's just the 3 or 4 you guys up there going at it. What does that do kind of for you mentally, knowing that you're not going to overwhelm them with numbers, you're not going to have a numbers advantage, but you got to beat the guy in front of you, sometimes 2 guys in front of you.
Yeah, that's the kudos to our D-line coach. You know, all summer we've been working. When nobody's out there, we're out there working hands. We do it every day. Like sometimes it's exhausting, but you see it. It shows up, especially in big time moments. So I feel like it's a good thing that we can sit back and let our DBs and linebackers cover while we just get after the quarterback.
For you, kind of being on the field with that defense, I mean, second game this year, tomorrow, it's time to leave, losing, one of the captains of that defense, guy's going to lead the team in tackles if he's out there. What are you kind of telling the guys when you're huddling up before going back out there? Obviously, tonight, the first play back out there is maybe not ideal, but the rest of the way.
Yeah, the next guy to step up. I feel like the DBs, like they're deep. They got a lot of good guys, like Coach mentioned, like McCullough. He's a baller, and we're just telling everybody like we have to step up. We have to turn up another notch. So like when those things like that do happen, we have people that can step in and do the same job.
Yeah, and I think it's a testament to how sound our defense plays most of the time. I mean, when you're not having to sacrifice bodies on blitzes, you're going to win most games. You know, when you've got a pass rush that can get to the quarterback a lot of times throughout the night without having to send blitzes, and that's what I mean. That's why I mean, Coach Stacks is great, man. He's a Hall of Fame coach, and he is probably as sound a football coach and old school football coach as there is in the game right now. And these guys respond to it. It's fun to watch. It's really fun to watch. And we've got to get better. There's some moments in the game. I mean, we can't give up that reverse. I mean, David was right there. He kind of got cut blocked. I thought it was a borderline possible. I'm not sure it was in the box. I mean, I'd have to watch it to see it exactly where it is, the split hairs. But we got to get that guy down and play the next play. We've proven over the first 3 games that if we get the ball carrier down and continue to play, I don't know what our red zone efficiency is on defense, but we don't give up a ton of touchdowns down there. We hold them field goal attempts, and that's a good thing, and that's going to help us win a lot of ball games if we can do that.
David was like having DC back.
Oh, good. It was amazing. DC, he just brings a different type of energy to the group because you can count on him to run to the ball. You can count on him to be most of the time in the right spot. If he's not in the right spot, he's going to get there 100 miles per hour. So having DC back and having like the Shun and like the group back, I feel like we still got stuff to work on, but like that was just a little sneak peek of what we can be.
Yeah.
Pretty good.